So let's see if we can talk about the weather here a little bit today. And I'm going to focus in on a small area. So the Storm Prediction Center is talking about potentials for severe weather in this part of the world. Really, right in here is where they're beginning the formation and then moving it on out. And they have a whole bunch of different stuff they're chatting about. So this is a mesoscale discussion, expecting 80% chance of a tornado watch to be issued in the next couple of hours. So why? Well, looking at the surface map first, let's just look there. Temperatures are in the mid to upper 70s down here in a warm sector, moving into this area. So there's pretty warm air, dew points in the 50s here, coming up. Not particularly high dew points here, but coming up. Obviously, there's a low. Look at the counterclockwise circulation right here. There's a line of thunderstorms out to the east, but nothing has really formed back in this section yet. So why are we triggering on that section? Well, let's just take a look at the surface. There's a low pressure there. Cold front, included front maybe out this way. Warm front probably over in here. Got southerly winds. Look at the southerly winds. 20, 25 knot average southerly winds coming up from the south out of the Gulf of Mexico. So you're pulling in moisture, one of the ingredients required. And with the low pressure, so let's just take a look at this moisture here. And you can see there's a channel of higher moisture coming up just on the east side of the Missouri into Iowa there, Nebraska. And with that as well, one of the things that's interesting to look at is moisture convergence. We talk about convergence, pulling air together. Well, you can converge any kind of quantities, air moving together with wind, or maybe we're going to deal with just moisture. This is moisture coming together, and there's a maximum right along here. Moisture convergence tends to indicate where you would expect to see higher precipitation values or potentially thunderstorms. In this case, you can see here there's some maximum just to the southeast corner of Nebraska, just almost into Missouri. So going back and looking at that area, we can see, just to the west side, really just the edge of that area. So that is something that tends to indicate that there might be some potential there. The other part, just looking at 850 millibars, and you can see a lot of moisture being pulled up right into that area and very tight temperature gradient. So there's probably really good frontogenesis there, which helps lift. So we're gaining lift. Also, let's take a look aloft a minute at 500 millibars. What I'm seeing here is cold air temperatures coming in aloft. So we're heating the bottom, we're cooling the air aloft. What we're doing is increasing the lapse rate with time, which is helping to generate more instability. So with that, we can look at frontogenesis at the surface. Frontogenesis is just air pulling together, tightening the temperature gradient. Look at this. Tremendous frontogenesis right in this area. Again, being an area that has increasing instability. There's not instability out here. That's why we're not too concerned about the frontogenesis out there. And also, it's the mountains are kind of causing a lot of that frontogenesis. But the other thing we can take a look at with this, let's take a look at CAPE, which is convective available potential energy. Maximum 1500 right in this area. So again, things are beginning to come together here. We just haven't had the thunderstorms yet. If we look at observations, just look at a satellite picture, a visible satellite. You can see the initial line of thunderstorms here, but look here at these Q beginning to develop and building into thunderstorms very quickly, actually. This is going to be the main focus. See, the clearing that occurred behind this area is allowing sunshine to filter in. We're beginning to get some more in the way of temperature contrast. Finally, we want to have wind shear if you're having tornadoes. Here is the wind shear map for that area. 70 to 80 knots of wind shear, tremendous wind shear in the low levels here. So that anything over 40 gives the potential for severe weather. Anything over 50 probably gets you started in looking at tornadoes, and we're up around 70 to 80, almost have too much shear. And finally, there's some indices that you can be used that are available on this site here with the Storm Prediction Center. They take into account different things. They may take into account what the shear is. They may take into account what the thermodynamics are. They may take into account what the surface pressures are. But there is a index, composite supercells, and so supercells are where severe weather forms. And you can see right in here is the maximum, again, corresponding with where we're seeing these clouds developing and all. So we're looking at the potential for tornadoes right in that area. And if you are actually looking at significant tornado potential, we actually are getting to have some potential for significant tornadoes in that area. This is relatively low yet, but still showing out. So if you were to just look at these, and we did this in a pretty quick amount of time, you would see that we have the potential in that area for thunderstorms to develop and increase rather rapidly and moving eastward across it. If you wanted to look at a morning sounding from that area, for example, we could go back to the home page here and pick up an early morning sounding. And you can see the enhanced area as well they're talking about there. And we're going to look just at the upper air right now, just to see a morning sounding if we can. Observe the sounding analysis right here. And we'll take a peek with 12Z. Not exactly a lot in that ballpark, but here's one, and you can see the fairly steep lapse rate here. If your temperature warmed over into the 70s, we could really get this area go up. We have a very, very photograph that shows a lot of wind down there. Wouldn't want to be flying, you're going to get a lot of wind shear at the low levels. So all these things are looking like it could have the potential. And this is just looking at a morning sounding. So I hope you get a little bit out of this. It's just trying to show you what we look at as a meteorologist and some things you can quickly look at and observe from the Storm Prediction Center and reading the mesoscale discussion and actually understanding what it's saying to you. So hope you got that. Let me know if you have any questions.